They play for corner kicks, they play for long throw-ins, they'll put the ball in the box from anywhere, but I think that's down to the lack of firepower they've got, or the strikers misfiring.
You think about Wilfried Nancy though, this is hero or zero. There are Celtic fans who are still absolutely not convinced with Wilfried Nancy, even though he's won the last two. And if he loses, it'll be he's a dud. Get him out. Bring Martin O'Neill back.
His runs are excellent. His movement off the ball's good. But Rangers don't have the players to see that pass or play that pass.
Two huge derbies in the third. Start with Old Firm. Your thoughts?
My thoughts, I haven't got a clue. My first thought is it'll be a better game than the one we saw earlier on this season. But that won't be difficult. I just say, look, Wilf Ball is here to stay. He's gonna play that way. Danny Rohl has been quite cautious with his approach. Do I think set plays will play a big part in the game? Absolutely. I think Rangers, can be a threat from set plays, but it could be absolutely any. I mean, it really could. Celtic could win. Celtic could have a 30-minute spell and win 4-1. But then on the flip side, you could see Rangers going there, putting up a decent rear guard sort of show, and then catching Celtic on the break. You just could. So I think it's. I mean, it always is tricky to call. We did go through sort of a few years back where you knew that Celtic would win and it'd be a cricket score. But now you think you're just because of both clubs, the managerial changes, and them sort of trying to find a style and a way of playing. I think it's really fascinating.
Can you see either of them changing going into the game?
No, I can't. And I think both managers won't know exactly what they're going to go into here because it's just a mental game, the passion and everything that runs through it. But I can't see any of them changing. I think, as Sutty says, if Celtic start well and create chances early and score early, then that freedom loosens them up. I think it'll be tough for Rangers, but Fernandez is probably got to be the favourite to score first for Rangers in this game because he's a big threat.
That is it. Like
in his own goal or in the Celtic
both. I think because his lack of defending is incredible, but he is so aggressive in the opposition box. Like his timing, and I think every single game he goes into, he must have an opportunity to score. I mean, he is so tall, he is aggressive, and that pretty much sums up Rangers right now. They play for corner kicks, they play for long throw-ins, they'll put the ball in the box from anywhere. But I think that's down to the lack of firepower they've got, or the strikers misfiring. And I don't see it turning anytime soon.
Do you think?
I'll tell you the other thing, we can be critical of the Rangers strikers this season for obvious reasons. Haven't scored enough goals, but a lot of talk about Miovski. When Miovski was at Aberdeen were a counter-attack team, and they played to Miovski's strengths. And you do think this is the type of game with his running power Celtic will play. Mm-hmm. You see, they will play a high line where. He could really cause.
He scored
Celtic
a goal in a
problems.
semi-final for Aberdeen against Celtic, similar in that respect, where they were wide open. But also, even in the way they play at the moment, his runs are excellent. His movement off the ball's good, but Rangers don't have the players to see that pass or play that pass. So I think that contributes to the lack of.
I think the more space he has to run it, if people show him that space, he'll take it. I think that's his greatest strength as a striker. When when Rangers are dominating the ball and teams are defending deep, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe being a little bit unfair of him, but maybe he just lacks that sort of pure striker's instinct in and around the box. I think he can finish, but I've always felt with him that his strength is he's a runner.
Yeah, but I think when you look at, Rangers are so deep though. Like even to spring that pass to get him, he's still got a 30-40 yard run to get in and go. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not as if Rangers are they're close to the halfway line, and I know you can still we're talking about counter-attack in football, but a lot of Miovski's runs were in off one of the in between the two, the full back, the centre back, or in between the two centre backs and down the side, and players were able to find them. There's a lack of creativity in that Rangers team.
Mm-hmm. They don't see the passes to play them around.
And the only ones that, Mikey Moore, for me, I said it a couple of weeks ago, I felt as if Rangers were a Mikey Moore injury away from collapse, and then Danny Rohl drops him for the game against Motherwell. So he was the one that would get on the ball, go and eliminate players, make things happen, or I felt that anyway, watching the games. and then he's taken out the team. For me, I think Rangers need to get him back in. I think Gassama is flattered to deceive. I thought he got a great start, but he has kind of disappeared. But Asgard, the exact same. Asgard he has moments of magic, and you think, whoa, this guy, like his touches, the way he takes players out of the game. And then there's other times where you think, he's never seen a football in his life. But it's for a striker as well. I mean, like if you've got that relationship with the guys behind you, you can make those moves. Eventually, you just stop doing it because you're like, ball's not going to come. I'm not running for the sake of running.
Do you think in this old firm, Celtic seem to have guys that have got more experience in that fixture compared to the Rangers squad? Do you think that'll have any bearing?
No, I don't think that'll have any bearing. I think Celtic style, everybody knows, how Celtic are going to play under Wilfried Nancy, and Celtic will be vulnerable at times. I just think it's so impossible to call. I suspect, you mentioned the Rangers three in midfield, but I think they'll be disciplined against Celtic, and I think they'll just look to hit Celtic in behind.
What's your most memorable Old Firm game?
Oh, how long have we got?
For me, well, I scored 2 in one of them, so 4-2 at Ibrox at the start of 2011 season. That's got to be it. It was a mad game as well. Went 1-0 up, went 2-1 down at half time, won 4-2. So brilliant day. Scored 2.
But mine would, there's a few, but I'll just do one. Probably the most iconic, the 6-2.
6-2 game.
Yeah, I mean, just an incredible. That took me 52.
What was about the
the build up to that game?
Because you were obviously new to Scottish football. Rangers had dominated, the season before.
Rangers were good back then.
See, just on a general for Celtic, seeing you come to Celtic, what's your initial thoughts of Scotland, the rivalry, the club?
Well, I mean, we did have televisions down south, so I was well aware of the sort of rivalry, and having played with Scottish players, Billy McKinlay at Blackburn Rovers, Colin Hendry, Kevin Gallagher, well, Kevin didn't play for Celtic or Rangers, but I was aware of the rivalry and the intensity to some extent, but not until you come up and experience it.
Madhouse.
You're all nuts. I mean, Scottish people are nuts. That is, and I love it. But going into that particular season, Rangers were had a really good team, strong team, won the league by 19-21 points, and then they started well, we started well, and we didn't have a clue. I think we were 3-1 up at half time. Scored from a yard after 52 seconds. I was offside. But that was the last decision that Celtic have had against Rangers.
Yeah.
I think. But 3-1 at half time. Honestly, going in, you think 3-1. We all know it's a precarious scoreline, isn't it? We were sort of not nervous, but you knew Rangers could come back into it. But then Larsson scores his goal, probably the best goal I've ever seen. And
some assist,
and then some assist. Then they get the 6-1, and that was probably a game people would look back on, quite rightly so. And I understand that as a game which sort of turned the tide. But we went 5-1
at Ibrox, yeah. So
in the November and lost then. So, but and Martin was always good in terms of sort of keeping us grounded and always saying Rangers are the benchmark and what have you. And I thought they were two really good teams.
Yeah. It's so. Let's see if it was like, obviously Rangers are travelling across the city to Celtic Park in the third. What was the difference from Celtic at home when you absolutely battered Rangers, and then a few months later you go across the city and Rangers absolutely batter? Like the stadium, the fans. I mean, it does play a huge part.
I think it does. I think over the sort of period when I was up, I mean, Celtic won a fair few times at Ibrox, and in many ways, you know what it's like as a player. It's great, isn't it, when you're away and you can sort of silence the away fans. But I don't know. I mean, the sort of the team that Rangers had back then were extremely capable. And if you weren't on it, you were slightly off it. They could do that, And I think you look at the quality of both teams back then to what it is now, but it's still really exciting, this one, because of the way Wilfried Nancy
plays.
I mean, that's that's the sort of whether you want to call it the X factor of this one. He's come in, says, I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to play this way, and you're all sitting there, sir. Watching through your fingers, thinking, God,
the funny thing
what's
is,
going to happen?
the funny, you speak about the madhouse in Glasgow, but in a normal week, you're under pressure, a Rangers Celtic player, but the build up to the Old Firm game,
everybody talks about.
It's like 5-6 days before the game. It's crazy, isn't it?
Aye, everybody you speak to.
But it's not even a case. It's do not lose this game.
So you think about Wilfried Nancy though. This is hero or zero. This game, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, it absolutely is for him because it's at Celtic Park. There are Celtic fans who are still absolutely not convinced with Wilfried Nancy, even though he's won the last two. But all of a sudden, if he gets a win, then it'll be we believe in Wilf.
Mm-hmm.
And if he loses, it'll be
he's
a dud. Get him out. Bring Martin O'Neill back.
If Rangers have to go across the city and win, are they still in the title race?
Yeah, I think
they're still in the title race anyway.
Yeah.
I know you keep writing them off, but they're absolutely never out of a title race because nobody knows what Danny Rohl has up his sleeve in January. That's it.
Yeah, January is a pivotal moment for Rangers. But
so what do they need?
They need better quality in all areas, I think.
In all areas, but he's not going to get 11 players. So
he needs a striker. He needs a constant goal threat and probably attack. Similar to Celtic in that they both need guys that you can rely on every week to create chances and score goals. That's what Rangers and Celtic, most successful teams, have always had. That's what they both need, I think. But then if you go right through the squads, I think Rangers in most areas need... Do you know what I think Rangers need? More understanding of what Rangers is. That going away from home and getting a draw isn't acceptable. Yeah. That's probably the biggest thing they need. And I think for Celtic, they need a goal scorer because they are creating chances.
The thing is I'll tell you why Rangers are still in the title race and why they were never out of it. Because it's not like previous seasons where we all expect Celtic to go on a 12, 14 game run, a winning run. Yeah. We can all see Celtic dropping points. We can all see Hearts dropping points because Hearts and Derek, to be fair to Derek, never said Hearts had never cracked it, and he's Hearts, the way that they set up, you could argue with Hearts that they lack creativity in the middle of the park. They are so reliant on their front three who have been brilliant, but will. If Shanklin dries up for a couple of weeks, will that be a problem?
They had that wee spell where they didn't.
But my issue with the whole, when I look at Rangers, I can still see Hearts and Celtic winning more games than Rangers. That's why, I think they've no way of getting back into it. I feel as if
I think if they get beat, they'll no win the league.
Yeah. What do you think Celtic need? I mean, I
know how long have we got?
I know, but if you've got
in one window. Not perfection.
Well, I mean, everybody needs a striker. We talked about that. Celtic have, the recruitment nowhere near good enough over the summer. I think that the centre back positions, especially that right hand side, is a problem. I think Celtic have got a problem with it in terms of Yang at right wing back. I think that even if you look into the middle of the park, I'm a big Hatate fan. I'm a big McGregor fan. Nygren has sort of been patchy, although you can chuck his goals, and it has been important. I'm still not totally convinced with Engels. So I mean, you need to get better in than what you've got, and I think it's fair to say this is a bang average Celtic squad.
Spoke about maybe Maeda performing again because the transfer window's come up, but there's a few links with Callum McGregor for Saudi with Brendan Rodgers. Did you see that?
Could I see that? No.
You don't think that could happen?
I mean, they can offer him a shed load of money. I mean, it'd be interesting if he got enticed, what his decision would be. He could go.
What would you do in this situation?
What truthfully?
Yeah, truthfully. We're all about honesty on here.
All right, I'd ask my wife what I should do.
Think Brendan will be watching the game?
Yeah, I think he will. Yeah, do you? Yeah.
I think he will, yeah. Think of what could have been.
Yeah.
The one we didn't touch on there, what do Hearts need to do in January?
They've signed the right back, and they've got the
winger coming in.
Kazakhstan boy coming in as well, haven't they? The Brazilian, what do you call him? Agu, the middle of the pitch to come back. So I mean, they've got players coming back. I think they do need. I mean, Kabore and Kabanga. If anything, as Kris said there, if Shanklin dries up, or if anything happens to Lawrence Shanklin, then I think in that number 9 area they might have it. But I can't see them going, and it's very difficult to go and get another striker, isn't it, when you've already got so many. I think Hearts' problem is, and it'll be the summer now, I would imagine, when they tidy the squad up, because the squad's bloated, it's big. They'll have to probably get players out.
Do you not think the middle of the park is where
the creativity
they're athletes, and they are really good at what they do, and they bully teams. That's what they do, and that would be my one sort of reservation with Hearts, that they are too reliant on the front three. They lack that, whether it's McKenty and Devlin's been phenomenal for them, and then they've got, is it Magnuson? Who's been back as well. He's an athlete. That's what he is, and they just maybe lack. And this is being ultra critical.
The Brazilian striker, he's more of an 8.
Guile.
Yeah.
Predictions all for him before we.
I think Celtic will win it.
Score.
That'll be 2-0.
2-0.
Well, the one prediction, the result, it will never be as 0-0.
Yeah,
I'll go 4-4.
4-4.
I don't know. I could be 5-5. Honestly, I don't know.
2-1 Rangers. Celtic got a goal back late on. Rangers 2-0 up.
Who's scoring Rangers?
Fernandez bang.
They still can't win the league.
No, they can't. Not for me. Dundee derby.
I think it's always tricky with Dundee. If you look at the two Dundee teams this season, they've both had to rebuild squads again. Dundee United done brilliant last season.
Jim's very good at that, though.
I was just about to say that. He's done really well. So maybe it's not been the same level as last season, but he's done really well.
Mm-hmm.
He's building foundations for the club stability-wise. For Stephen Presley at Dundee, it's been tough, really tough.
Is he too negative in his approach, Stephen Presley?
I think he's just honest. The way he is, he's trying to be as honest and transparent.
That's not an answer.
Well, no, that's what I think he's doing. By doing it, does it help him? At times, no, because when the results are not going well, it looks really bad.
But what I'm saying is, does he have, just that one way of playing where they can sit in and they'll sit deep and they can counter-attack, and then that's their problem when they have to take the game to.
Well, I think as well, some of them are more experienced, but Simon Murray's not had the season he had last season. So you go back to talking about goals.
Somebody was wanting to play a couple of weeks ago.
Are you ruling him out?
Not at all. But
so there's
not
hope for Simon Murray.
Not scoring goals is always going to be difficult when you're
sent off.
That
sent off yesterday. Saturday against. To be fair, I thought he was very unlucky to be sent off.
I
think like he's unlucky because just when he steps across him, he catches him in the back of the Achilles. I thought he was very, very unlucky. But no Simon Murray. It's a blow.
But I think it's a bigger result needed for Dundee, obviously. And if they can get a good result, it's just that building that momentum. But it's always going to be a tough season for both Dundee teams when you're rebuilding squads, for me.
Yeah, I think for Stephen Presley, when you look at it, it's. I'm not comparing him to Danny Rohl, but he knows that he has to be solid if he's going to get results.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at even the game against Celtic, where the sacrifice to wide areas. It was if anything comes in our box, we're going to defend that, and we'll defend it for our lives, and that's what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
They got a result at the end of it. Then they go and lose a few games. Then they win a game. Then they go and lose a few games. Then they win a game. Like you look at the way Dundee are. Survival.
What is the bigger plan for them, though?
But that's what I was coming for. I mean, you look at 2 seasons ago, top 6. Last season, they survive. Tony Dock loses his job. Stephen Presley comes in. You've got to say, if Dundee if they have to survive this year, would arguably just be as big an achievement as the top 6 a couple of seasons ago. Because you look at how bad they've been this year. I mean, Kilmarnock and Livy are obviously 2 teams that are struggling down there with them. But, you look at Dundee as well. I don't see where they're going to score goals. I mean, they'll sit in, they'll make it difficult for teams. They will. They've got players that can carry the ball up the pitch. But I wouldn't say as if Dundee are certainty to score today.
But it shouldn't be the case, really. If you're a Dundee fan, that this season was about making the next step, wasn't it? And you're quite rightly using the word survival, and that I think we'd all agree this season. You look at the table, you think, well, that would be success. But have they sort of in the way that they play, have they moved on? In fairness to Tony Dock, he was hard done. But
is that not really hard to do when you lose a McKeown, when you lose a Lyle Cameron, when you lose Mulligan? Yeah. So that's why I asked, what is the medium longer term when you're constantly losing these big players for you to rebuild and try and progress from your top six? It's near on impossible.
Yeah, I agree.
It makes it, as far as I can see, it makes it a bigger game for Stephen Presley than Jim Goodwin, because if he loses it, the Dundee fans, there are a lot of them who aren't having him anyway. That's
I think the flip side of that would be, because of how well Dundee United done last year as well. Dundee United fans will be looking, to kick on as well. But as you say, Jim's had to go and build a new team again. There is no doubt that the goalkeeping situation has hindered Dundee United this season. The amount of points they've dropped because of goalkeeping mistakes. Even the other day there as well, I thought the goalkeeper should have done a lot better for the one at Aberdeen, when he pushed it back out and Aberdeen are able to score off it. I know it bounced in front of him, but you kind of feel as if if Dundee had Dundee United had a good goalkeeper, they would be in a far better position, far better. They wouldn't have dropped the points that they have. But the expectations from both sets of fans, Dundee United would be expecting to kick on this season because of the season they had last year. A taste of European football at the start of the season as well. And then, Dundee, because of how well they've done a couple of years ago, they'll be thinking, well, we need to get... But survival for Dundee United this year is a must. It's a must. They've got a lot going on, obviously, with the stadium as well, still rumbling on in the background.
What's happened with that?
I haven't a clue. I don't even think they know.
No.
So what happens if Dundee finish 10th? What happens to Stephen Presley?
I think it'd been an achievement. I think it'd been an achievement because of the upheaval we've got.
Don't know how long he's got left on his contract.
What we're going? Dundee Derby predictions.
I think it'll be a draw. Score draw.
Score draw.
Yep.
1-1, 2-2, 3-3.
2-2.
2-2.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going Dundee United 1-0.
I'm going Dundee United 3-1.
Wow.
1-0 at half time, shooting down the slope of second half.
Yeah. Makes a big difference, doesn't it?
100%. People don't realise. Try having to run back up it, it's not as easy. But right, guys, brilliant. We look forward to that. The two derbies.
Remember to like and subscribe and never miss an episode of The Warm Up.